One of the big upcoming Marvel movies that they've been talking a lot about is the brand new Captain America. Because after, Old Man Steve and the events of Falcon the Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson is now carrying the moniker Captain America with a pretty damn cool new suit. Now, I'm more of a traditionalist. Like, I think Steve Rogers is Captain America, is Steve Rogers is Captain America, is Steve Rogers kind of guy. Like, anybody can call themselves by name. But that being said, man, Sam was the one of, if not the closest friend to Steve, embodied all the ideals that Steve had a lot. But also, as we saw in Falcon the Winter Soldier, which I didn't love, but what we saw in Falcon the Winter Soldier was, while he had a lot of the ideals and was very, very close to Steve, he also was his own man and came into the ability of carrying the moniker of Captain America with the great shield and all that kind of stuff. Now, also, we've got Avengers movies coming out, which right now, as you often point out, Rob, we don't even have any idea who's in the Avengers at this point. They have not made one mention. I mean, we know Ant-Man's an Avenger. Okay.
Apparently they have lunch boxes. That's about it.
Apparently there are lunch boxes too. So the question has been, ever since, with the death of Tony, which he'll be back, and the departure of Old Man Steve, he'll be back too at some point. But who's the leader? Who's going to be the leader of the Avengers? It's not going to be Doctor Strange because Benedict Cumberbatch already said, like, technically speaking, Doctor Strange's not even in the Avengers. He's not an Avenger. So he can't be the leader of the Avengers. They might have been thinking for a while that maybe T'Challa could have been leader of the Avengers. Well, obviously, and unfortunately, that can't happen. But what about Captain America? Well, Anthony Mackie, who, by the way, I love Anthony Mackie. Not only is he a terrific actor, but he always has this wonderful sense of groundedness about him, which I always just love. But they were asking him, he was being interviewed by Empire, and they asked him straight up about maybe his character becoming the new leader of the Avengers. He said this. He said, well, Sam is the only character without superpowers. He's just a regular dude hanging out with a bunch of weirdos. Being from New Orleans, I've been in a few fights, and heart and charisma never helped me in a fight. That usually just got me beat up. So that might cause an issue when you go to fight somebody like Thanos. So basically, Anthony Mackie kind of put out, Sam Wilson might not be the leader of the Avengers. Will he be in whatever Avengers movie come along? Absolutely, he will be. Now, I concur with him, but it's not because he doesn't have powers. Because Batman is kind of considered to be the de facto leader of anything in DC. And of course, Batman has no powers other than being rich. So there's that. The reason I don't think I could see Sam becoming the leader of the Avengers is because while he has been an Avenger, he's always been seen as a sidekick to Steve. And are other members of the Avengers suddenly going to go, oh, now you're our leader? It's kind of the same thing when people would suggest to me, well, Spider-Man will be the new leader of the Avengers. Spider-Man is a child. You think like Rhodey, who is a Air Force captain or colonel now at this point, or now he's in the government, I guess, with the upcoming Secret Invasion. But do you think Rhodey's going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to take orders from this kid who got bit by a spider a couple of years ago and is basically a child? No, they're not going to do that.
Come on, they're all about that superhero life.
They're all about that super life.
Rhodey could be the leader of the Avengers.
I mean, Rhodey is a far more interesting name. Of course, now Sam is military as well.
Right.
Like Sam is military. So, I mean.
But Rhodey's much more familiar with the equipment.
Yes. Oh, and the procedure and the responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. He went through Civil War,
yep.
So he's got a better perspective now of both sides of the argument and all that.
And he's coming up in Secret Invasion and in Armor Wars.
Yep. So there's an argument there. Now, the argument against that is that War Machine Rhodey has never been an A-tier level character in the MCU. So there's that argument.
Captain Marvel.
I don't think that she's off-world too much, I think. So I don't know who they're going to make the leader, but I don't think it's going to be Sam Wilson's, Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson. I just don't think it's going to be them. Anyway, Christian, you hear Sam's comments. What do you make of them? And could you see Sam as the leader of Avengers? If not, do you have anybody else in mind who could be?
Yeah, I'm on that argument. Other side of the argument, I think it's going to be Spider-Man, and I think that's the whole point of the fourth movie, is to show that he's getting away from being a kid. And I think that that's where they're going to lead into with him. And I think that that's kind of what they were showing, where he was having this real issue with the idea that everyone was looking towards him now that Tony was gone. and even Nick Fury says to him as much, like they're all saying, Tony thought you were the guy. Tony thought that you were the guy. So I think that they're going to lead into that. I think that the fourth movie is him going to be on his own and learning, how to, because a lot of people aren't even going to know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, how they're going to deal with that. Plus the other reason why he's the biggest star that they have right now, in my opinion, as far as like from all the movies that have worked and all the ones that have been connected to the old Avengers, Tom Holland, I think, would be the one that the audience would get behind, at least in my opinion. I think that if they build him up within that fourth movie, then he could, and because a lot of these new Avengers are going to be younger too, whether we have, if it's Kate Bishop or whoever of these other people, and to take if they're going with the young Avengers angle, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. If they're going with that, he would make sense. As far as Sam goes, I would also be okay with that too. I like the way Sam earned Captain America, by the way, because when he was just given the shield at the end of the movie, you're like, all right, I guess that makes sense. He respects him, but he earned it in that show, and what he needed to do, and what he went through mentally, and the fight that he had to do. Because I really enjoyed the character of Sam. I think that he's just one of those people you root for. But him being the leader, he proved in the show that he's got it. He's got what it takes. I mean, Bucky's too a little kooky, I guess.
He's got a little bit too much history.
Yeah. Plus the fact that he's going to be in the
Thunderbolts.
Yeah. So I think Spider-Man will wind up being the leader.
See, the one argument you made for Spider-Man that I agree with is the fact that there is no question of the remaining. Now that Tony's gone, Cap is gone, he's the most popular character. Again, if I'm living in that world, he's a child who knows nothing about leadership, but that's just me. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I made the switch over to Mint Mobile a while ago. The process couldn't have been easier, and I can't believe that I am spending less than a third of what I was spending on one of the other major carriers before. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. Rob, who could you see being a leader? Could it be Sam? Because, something you said about him, he kind of earned it, that Sam earned that mantle. Yeah. To me, it goes back to something I mentioned earlier, that I completely agree with you. He earned it because he was always in Steve's shadow. He earned it by becoming his own man.
Yes.
With his own differences and things, which is why ultimately I really like the character. I don't know. How do you see it, Rob?
I don't think that Sam Wilson can be the leader, only because, like he pointed out himself, he's just a normal guy. And with Thanos level threats, he can't be first through the door. You need to have somebody. That's why I think that of all the people that have, and only because, again, in the comics, there was a time when Carol Danvers did lead the Avengers.
Yes.
In Civil War II. I could see her, based on what's going to happen in Secret Invasion and Armor Wars, I could see her, Earth is her home, coming back to Earth at least for a while out of necessity, because we got Celestials on Earth. Arishem the Judge is coming back. Who knows what the Fantastic Four will bring about. And Earth is the epicenter of certain activity. So there might be a reason why she has to come back. I could see her leading the Avengers. But even then, John, who's on the team?
Yeah.
The problem is you bring back a very powerful individual in Carol Danvers, and she is the Avengers. Maybe she's like, hey, Doctor Strange, Kamar-Taj, or leave the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York. I need your help. We don't know. And if you look at the Avengers, obviously the Tony Stark's technology became great to the point of, as you pointed out, always nanotech magic.
Yeah, it's just magic.
And then you've got super soldiers. The Hulk can't lead, but he's the muscle. So you've got Hulk, but who's on an Avengers team? New people? They can't have the young characters that we've been introduced to. There's nobody really. We don't have a meta-human group that can face cosmic threats right now. Earth is vulnerable.
Well, there are a few. I mean, we got so as we look at the upcoming The Marvels. So we've got Photon or whatever name she's going to go by.
Again, what's her power level?
Yeah, so we don't know power, but the powers are there. Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel. We get the aforementioned Spider-Man, Shang-Chi. Now, granted, not a guy with powers, but once he has the rings,
Right.
a lot of power.
But again, has been into one battle in his whole life.
Yeah, big one though against Wenwu.
It was a big one
So
against his dad.
that's what we got years to get to the next
Wong.
Avengers movie. What's that?
Oh, Wong.
Wong.
They've been setting Wong up. Like what even Feige said, it's now the Wong cinematic
And
universe.
he is
I
the
guess it's the same
sorcerer's-
argument with Doctor Strange though too. They have other things to take care of.
Yeah.
But I mean, but if you talk about people who can battle time, it's.
And
those
if you
guys.
look at the Avengers, I mean, obviously Black Widow is just a human. So that's where Sam Wilson fits in. It takes the Black Widow slot. Carol Danvers, Hulk. So Hulk's there. Thor. So there's Thor. Is he
Yeah,
going to come
Thor's
back to
still
Earth?
around,
Thor's
yeah.
still around. So you got Thor. If you got the five,
Whatever is left over the Guardians.
yeah, absolutely. Maybe Nebula. I don't know. That would be interesting. We don't think Drax is going to make it, but if you have 4 or 5 key core team members, I mean,
Has Chris Pratt said that he's done? Because I know that Batista. Right. So I mean, Pratt's another one that
Could be.
Pratt could very well be
but
another
he's just
one.
a human. Well, I guess he's not.
No,
He's
no.
half celestial.
Yeah.
But he lost that power.
He did lose that power, but I mean, look, I don't think it's necessary that because you mentioned Rhodey before. Also he doesn't have any powers either. So
And Widow was the de facto when
Yeah.
we got into the beginning of Endgame. Widow was the leader of what was left of the Avengers.
because that was
Yeah.
just an Anthony Mackie comment who said that he's not going to be the leader and doesn't have the powers. That's not the power.
No,
the powers
but
that
okay,
be
so
that are
that's
making
not a
that
bad lineup. Then if you look at Carol Danvers, Rhodey,
Yeah.
Thor, Hulk, and then whether it's Shang-Chi's been an Avenger, could be, or I mean, that's the 5th person. That's not a bad team.
She-Hulk's probably going to be in there too, by the way.
And She-Hulk would be a good member of the Avengers as well in terms of muscle.
I just did not like that show at all, but I liked her a lot. So I would.
Yeah, I
just
like the
doesn't know how to
character.
fight.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her in a better capacity, used in a different capacity. So
All right, guys. Question is for you. Who do you think? First of all, we don't even know who's going to be in the Avengers.
No.
So the bigger question then is who's going to be the leader of the Avengers as we get into it? We're hearing thoughts about maybe Sam, maybe Rhodey, maybe Spider-Man, maybe Captain Marvel. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.